Hello guys. So in this video, I will show you how to run the workflow against the multiple records. So in the dynamics, you will have some situation here where you want to run your particular workflow against the multiple records. So when you want to run your any workflow on your demand on your wish manually, then definitely you'll go for the on-demand process. So I will create one on-demand process, and that on-demand process I want to run against the multiple records. You can do in the dynamics. There's a very easy way. You can select the you can have the view here. You can select all the records here, and then you can run the workflow from here. You can find the when you go to the workflow option, then you can find the all the on demand workflow available against this entity, particular entity. Say example, so you can trigger from this from the view here. Otherwise you can open one particular record, and there also you will have options to see the all the workflow which is available against this entity. These workflows will be on demand process. So this is the easiest way from the dynamics you can do. But thing is here, since the record available for this view is limited, it will have maximum 250 records available here. So every time you have to select 250 records and run the workflow. It will be time taking. Say when you have lakhs of records to be updated against that workflow, then that is not the realistic approach, right? So we will be using alternative approach. So I will show you how to use the XrmToolBox toolbox for that. So uh, here in the XrmToolBox, we'll log in and we'll use the bulk update execution, that plugin. And in that plugin we can select our on-demand workflow which we want to run, and you can use the view here for that particular workflow. When you select, so as soon as you will select the workflow, it will the entity will be applied here, and you can select the what are the views available here to that. I'll show you demo with that. But before that, let me tell you the demo which I'm going to achieve here for this. So as I mentioned, I have this entity records, some certain records I have. So what I want to do is I want to update the student details. I want to update these application student details here, like first name, last name, and some like email, contact numbers, and then some country, address line one. So these details has to be aligned from the selected student ID here. So this is very simple. So I want to update the details of these applications from the my related record. So for that, I have created my workflow. This workflow I have created, but I have not yet activated. You can see here inside that, this is in my draft state, this one. I have not activated, but this is also not available here inside the workflow option, because till now I have just created but I have not activated it. So first time, so I'm going to activate this as a first time. But before that, I want to show you the logic here. So I have taken the scope for as organization here, but I have not selected any event, because I want to run this workflow manually, and this will be some one time or two time task. Suppose I want to correct my data once in a while like that manually, then this is my that kind of workflow. In the real time you will have more complicated task and updating the data. So you can select the event type also, and but make sure you have checked this one as a on demand process, then only these workflows will be available over here. So I have checked that one. So we can make the workflow as real time or the background. When we have a lot of records to be updated, say like around lakhs of records or 50,000, more than 10,000, like that lot of records you have, then you definitely go for the background process, because you don't want to interrupt the ongoing events in the dynamics, right? When it is synchronous, then it will freeze the application process and till your task get completed. So when you have few records like 100, 200, or less than 500, then the real-time workflow will be useful. But when you have a bulk update, then you will keep those workflow type as a background process. So here the step I have selected is, I want first I'm checking the my on the application. I make sure the application student ID is selected, some value it has. So this, in this field it has some value. I don't want to run the workflow for those applications which is not having the this student ID. So this is one condition I have selected here. and I'm taking the I'm updating the application here, and I'm taking the value of this first name last name from my related student record here, which is the lookup field for this is a student ID. From this you can see here I have, this is the student ID field, and the type of this entity is a student, and from that I'm taking the first name last name, date of birth, email, contact number, country, and the baseline one to, these fields I'm updating from this student. So this is very simple workflow. Okay, so I'm now going to activate this. So once your workflow is activated, and when you refresh this your CRM, you will find that on-demand process available here, and you can run on the particular entity on demand. So when I go to the my flow here, then I can find my workflow. So you can see this is my workflow which I have created. It's available now, right? So I can run, but thing is, this is as one entity I'm running against that, right? Like that. So when you have a lot of records to be updated, so this is not the realistic approach, as I mentioned. But when you have few data to be updated, we know if you have missed for some records, then you can select like that and you can update. But thing is, I want to update in the bulk. For that, as I mentioned, I have logged into my XrmToolBox and with my trial instance, and here I will refresh my workflow here, and I can find my workflow here. You can see all these are all demand workflow available in my dynamics. So when you select your workflow here, and it will automatically show the related entity available views here. So if you want to run for active inactive, you can select that particular views. If you have already created the conditions of the records which you want to run against that, you can create the view, and you can find that view here, and you can select. Otherwise, if you have your custom fetch query, fetch XML query, you can edit here, and you can run against that. So when you have a view you have selected here, you can validate the query. So in that validate query, it will display the available count of the records against which the your workflow will be, this workflow will run. And here we have the size of batch jobs, batch size, not the job, sorry, this is batch size. This indicates at a time it will take 200 records and it will process that. And when you're, when you have a lot of plugins integrated in your dynamics, then you can give this some delay here, so that when the next batch size is taken, then it will wait for some time, like 1 second or 2 second. It will take the integer number here, 1 second, 2 seconds, and then next batch it will take, and then it will run against those. So we have this feature here. So that is one of the advantage. You can control how workflow will be run against the particular entity. So say, since I have very few counts, so I'll select this one, and I'm going to make this batch size as 200, and I'm giving delay as 1 second delay. So once we have that, then on the selected workflow you can run the start workflow, and it will be updated here. So let me verify the data first. So say example of this application, first application, I have this student record selected, and the details of this first name is different. Like you can see, this is the student 2, and the last name is test 2. When I go to the my student here, and the name field, from this you can see this is a different name, right? So this data has to be populated into the application when I refresh that, when I run my job. Okay, so I'm going to run the workflow now. Okay, so it has updated now. So now when I refresh this, then I will have the updated data from this. So if you'll see this now, let me refer the application 1. I have the student here, which is amendment. You can see this data has been updated from the my selected student record here, right? Which is as per that, and even you can see the date of birth and country, contact number, everything will be aligned how we have given into the in the students. You can see the same country, date of birth, India, and what are the lines, things, everything is as aligned here. So this is how you can use this tool, workflow execution. And if you want to install this workflow, if you not find, then you can go to the configurations tool library here, and you can search the workflow, bulk workflow update. So this is the plugin name. You can install that and then you can run against that. So this is easy to do, guys, and I'm using most of the time whenever I'm doing the any data manipulation. So this, I don't want to go for the data import, and when we have a lot of records. So I prefer this method because it is easy and it is in my control using the workflow, and this is very easy to work with. So I hope you have understood it, and thank you for watching this video, guys.